Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Very well. Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement, please. The prosecution will show the court that at 2:30 p.m. on October 15, the defendant, Mr. Will Powers, killed fellow actor Jack Hammer in Studio 1 of Global Studios. It is impossible for anyone else to have committed this heinous crime. The evidence presented during the trial will all point to this fact. I see. Very well. I would like to move to move on to the testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution may call its first witness. Very well. I call most familiar face, Detective Gumshoe, to the stand. Detective, if you would briefly describe this case to the court. Yes, sir. I'll explain it with the guide map here. To understand this case, it's important to grasp the layout of the studio. See? This here is the employee area. The actors did a run-through of their action scenes during the morning here. This is the main gate to the studios. The security lady that works at the studio was here at 1 p.m. on that day. Past the security station, there is a gate, see? Past that are the studios. And here it is, Studio 1. This is where the scene of the crime, the scene of the murder, where the body was found. Now, on the day of the murder, October 15, there were only 3 people there. The victim, Jack Hammer, the defendant, Will Powers, and a young woman, the production assistant. All the production staff were in the employee area until noon. Then, after lunch, the victim, Jack Hammer, went to the Studio 1. Right after that, at 1 p.m., the security lady got to the guard station. Now jump ahead to later that day, 5 p.m. The production staff came to Studio 1 to perform a rehearsal. Needless to say, the rehearsal was cancelled. The time of death was 2:30 p.m. The samurai spear found lodged in the victim's chest was the murder weapon. That's the case in brief. Anyone like to hear that again? No. I think I can probably remember that. But the murder weapon was the spear. Oh, medieval. Your Honor, this case is quite simple if you ask one question. And that question is, what did the security lady at the guard station see? Understood. Let's call this security officer to the stand. Will the witness declare her name? Oh my, aren't you a handsome fellow? I'm afraid I'm a bit flustered. Your name, please? Oh, dearie, no need for you to be embarrassed. Just call me Grandma. Your name, please? Seems Edward has a bit of trouble getting his witness to say their names. Wendy Allback, dearie.
So just count, Grandma. It's not my name. So even when I was young, I was Allback. I really have just my name, dearie. So the politician will make fun of me and just because of my name. Can you believe it? That was this boy that did nothing. She called me Jimmy when he called me Allback. I just cried because I had a crush on him, you see.
Objection! I object to the witness talkativeness. Objection sustained. The witness will refrain from rambling on the stand. I was just getting to the good part, dearie. Perhaps we can go to the testimony? No, the witness was stationed at the main gate on the day of the murder, correct? Yes, see, I was. And to get to the scene of the murder, someone would have to pass by you. You know your stuff, dearie. You may begin your testimony. She sure is one hell of an old bag. Let me just take a sip of water. On the day of the murder, I arrived at the guard station at 1 p.m. Poor old Hammer and the rest had been doing a run-through since the morning. I had some errands to run that morning. Anyway, it was 1 when we got to the guard station. I was at the main gate from then until 5. Now, the murder happened at 2:30 p.m., right? Interesting to me because A certain man walked right by me at 2 p.m. It was Powers, that man right there, and he was heading towards the studio. You saw the defendant then? Very well. Let's begin the cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Let's do this. Alright. So up until that time, anyone who wanted to go into this... Oh wait. So up until that time, anyone who wanted to... Wait, what? So up until that time, anyone who wanted to... Okay, I feel like there should probably be a comma or something. So up until that time, anyone who wanted to could go into the studio. Well, there wasn't a security guard at the gate, no. But the main gate was locked, dearie. You need an employee card key to get in. Right, the card key that I have. So what she's saying is no one who wasn't supposed to be there could get in. Was there anyone at the studios when you arrived at the guard station? Right? A run-through. They were working out a scene between the Steel Samurai and the evil magistrate. They got the basic figured out by noon and were to use in the afternoon for practice. Rehearsal was supposed to start at 5. That's why poor old Hammers went to the studio one in the afternoon. Sapphire was in his dressing room sleeping when he was supposed to be practicing. Talk about a laid-back hero. If there was a run-through in the morning, why did you only get there afternoon? I had some errands to run this morning. What kind of errands? Oh, well, you know. Answer the question. Actually, I was watching poor Hammer and Powers, observing, you know? Observing? Weren't you supposed to be at the guard station? Whippersnapper, I told you I locked the gate, didn't I? I did my job. I'm not sure your boss would see it that way. Anyway, I always watch Hammer's run-throughs. Always. Never miss one in all my years. Wow, I want to see a Steel Samurai run-through, too. You could quit being a spirit medium and take up that guard duty. Not a bad idea. Did you see the victim then? Did I see poor old Hammer? No. He'd already gone to the studio before I got back to the guard station. Tell us what happened next. So you're watching there the whole time, no breaks, not even a second. Of course, I'm a professional, you know. Are you criticizing how I do my job, whippersnapper? No, it's just after seeing you eating those donuts in the guard station yesterday. I can't watch the gate and eat donuts at the same time. Snipper Whopper. Oh, Windbag is losing it, Nick. Why don't you raise an objection? So the witness was on duty through the afternoon this whole time. Very well. What did you see? How did you know that? Oh, I have my ways. That overdressed young detective told me. I fed him some donuts and he talked and talked. He asked me, that detective isn't cut out for his job. Or detective comes through getting ratted out by a security guard. Two, you're sure? Sure as spit. Well, who was the man? Really? You should try not to get so excited at your age. You might strain something. Now, don't get your skivvies all in a bunch. I'll tell you who it was. It was Powers, that man right there. And he was heading towards the studio. So you saw Mr. Powers. That's what I said. Got wax in your ears, Sonny? Nick, this is your chance. Yeah. Oh. Oh. It's this one. Let me get this straight, Miss Oldbag. You've been saying since yesterday that you saw Mr. Powers, correct? You're talking the men in this photo, aren't you? Just a moment, Mr. Wright. Let me see that photo. What is this exactly? None other than the Steel Samurai defender of the Neo Old Tokyo? Miss Oldbag, is this the Mr. Powers that you saw? Of course! Didn't your mama teach you any sense, Sonny? Anyone can plainly see that's Powers, right? No, they can't. Well, I mean, I wonder. True, Mr. Powers does play the role of the Steel Samurai. But that doesn't mean Mr. Powers is the Steel Samurai. I know that. I wasn't born yesterday. No one in Discord is accusing you of that, Miss Witness. He's having trouble calling her old bag, apparently. However, you do not have proof that the person in this photo is Mr. Will Powers, do you? Nosy old man. Of course I have proof. Huh? The prosecution would like to ask the witness to make known all the information in your possession ahead of time. How was I to know everyone would be so nosy? You should be ashamed, all of you. Anyway, I showed that photo to the young detective. He told me this isn't any good evidence, pal. He didn't even give it a second look. Oh, old woman has left even Edgeworth speechless. She's good. Let's hear about your proof then. I never said anything I don't mean, mind you. That morning during the run-through of action scene, I saw Power trip and fall. He broke one of the props. It was a big mess. Apparently, he sprained his ankle pretty bad. Now look at that picture. You can see he's dragging his legs, see? Clear as day. That's how I knew it was Power. Happy? So he had sprained his ankle. Very well, Mr. Wright. You may cross-examine the witness. She's got to be hiding something. I'll press her until she squeals. I don't want to hear an old woman squeal. Ugh. Alright, what was that? No, I'm not. Alright. Mr. Wright, please, for our sake, try not to upset the witness. Who was present at the run-through? Well, let's see. There was Powers, he's a Steel Samurai. Then poor old Hammer, the evil magistrate. And me. And what exactly were you doing? Observing, just observing. What about the assistant? Oh, she was off moving bad drops around and such, so she didn't even see the run-through then. Trip and fall? Yes, and to think he's supposed to be the Steel Samurai, what a laugh! So, Power sprained his ankle. I helped make it better for him, of course. You helped make it better? I kissed it where it hurt. Let's just skip over that part, shall we? Where was the assistant then? Oh, her? She was cleaning the backdrops, I think. She didn't know about Power's ankle. You may continue your testimony. He broke a prop? Sure did. His own samurai spear. The samurai spear, the murder weapon. Luckily, I was there to fix it with my duct tape. I was there to fix it with duct tape. This strikes me as a significant detail. Alright. Was Mr. Power's ankle badly sprained? Not so bad that he couldn't walk around. He went to his dressing room to rest up after lunch. Just a nap. Anyway, I saw him dragging his foot when he walked. Dragging his foot? Okay. I think we've heard enough. Haven't we, Your Honor? Well, there's one thing that bothers me. Which is? Where is the Steel Samurai costume now? Actually, well, we couldn't find it. We are looking though. Anyway, that's not important. The witness did see the Steel Samurai, yes? And it's clear that the person in the Steel Samurai suits was Mr. Power. I suppose that's right. Are you sure you're sure, Your Honor? Hold it right there. We keep talking possibilities, but we have to agree that this photo shows the Steel Samurai. Nowhere in this photo can we see Mr. Will Powers. The defense has a point. I also wonder if someone else not caught on camera could have killed Mr. Hammer. We have to consider that possibility also. Then allow me to remove that doubt from your mind, Your Honor. Will the witness continue her testimony, please? No need to ask twice. The time of poor Hammer's death was 2:30 p.m., true? The only person I saw go in the studios before then was Will Powers. No one else went in there. If they had, I wouldn't have seen them. So, if no one else went into the studio, then it would have to be the Steel Samurai who did it. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine your witness. Alright, are you absolutely sure? Oh, quite, Sonny. Nobody suspicious looking passed by at all. Nobody suspicious looking? Right. What about before you got into the card station? You mean before one? Why, everyone was in the employee area before then. And I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Not to mention, if they had, I would have seen them. Are you sure? The witness has answered the question. Anyone going into the studio had to pass by the witness. Edgy boy. Yeah, he's edgy. Old Windbike sure has balls. Or, well, you know what I mean. Oh, man. There you go. This is pictures number 2. Hold on. Look at this photograph one more time. This photo was taken by the camera at the gate for the studios, correct? Yes, sirree, Sonny. So whenever anyone passes by here, it automatically takes a picture. And here I thought you didn't know your head from a hole in the ground. Right, anyway. It's also true that the computer in the guard station records all security cam data. Oh, you know, if you wanted to work at the studio, we might have an opening. That very computer printed out this photo. Note that on the back of the photo are printed the words October 15, 2 p.m. photo number 2. Even I know that means it was taken at 2 p.m. on October the 15th. Really? Sorry, really, Sonny? Actually, I knew that too. The issue here is the bit at the end, in the end where it says photo number 2. Photo number 2. The computer only held data for one photo on that day. Don't you think that's odd? Shouldn't this photo be photo number 1 if it really was the only photo? Order! Please tell the court what you mean by that, by this, Mr. Wright. Actually, that's what I want to ask the witness. This evidence shows that not 1 but 2 people went on the studio that day. Yeah, there is only data for one of the photos. Who could have erased the data for the other photo? Only someone with access. The security lady herself. Eh? You watch your mouth, you whippersnapper. The only person I saw that day was Will Powers. But the camera on the gate fired twice, that means 2 people went by. Well, yes, that's what it seems to mean. Can the witness explain this to the court? I don't understand these new Fangirl computer things. Edgy boy, help! Huh? Believe me, I want to, but I don't know what this means either. Some help you are. You're a whippersnapper too. Whippersnapper? Something the matter, old bag? Ah, that's right! I just remembered something. Let me guess. Someone else passed by the gate? Someone other than the Steel Samurai? Well, yes, I suppose you could put it that way. I see. Your testimony, please. Every day after I finish my guard duties, I have one other important job to do. I go through the photos recorded on the security computer and check them. I throw out any photos that aren't suspicious looking, you see. Come to think of it, now I remember throwing out one photo that day. Miss Albright, this is the first I've heard of this. Well, of course, Sonny. I only just remembered it. Right, anyway, Mr. Wright, please begin the cross-examination. Say this was a turn for the unexpected, but I kind of expected this. The other person. Every day after I finish my guard duties, I have one... Okay. Hey, well, who the heck was in that photo you erased? A fanboy. Fanboy? Steel Samurai fanboys, real freaks if you ask me. They get information about their rehearsal from gosh knows where. They're always hanging around about one was there that day. Wait a second, did you just say no one else could get in? I locked the main gate so no one could get in. Those were your words. Well, if you must know, there's a drain that goes into the employee area. The grate has been loose for a while. It leads outside and well, that's where they come in. They come in through the drain? I told you there were freaks. Oh, and they're kids, children, whippersnappers. Kids? So, on the photo that you erased, it was a boy, probably 2nd or 3rd grade. What? Order! Let me get this straight. You saw 2 people pass by the gate on their way to the studio that day. One was a Steel Samurai dragging his leg. The other was a boy who looked to be about 2nd or 3rd grade. Oh yes, well, we see his type there every day. Can't stop him, can't catch him. A boy in 2nd or 3rd grade, I assume it would be hard, if not possible, for a young boy to wield this samurai spear. Impossible, I think. It's quite heavy. Right, as I said, I didn't pay him much mind. That's why I raised the data. Nick, what's going on? I mean, the boy was there, that makes him a suspect. Yeah, and they're already trying to unsuspect him. This court will take a 5-minute recess. I want the defense and the prosecution to consider this new information. And no forgetting vital information this time. Mr. Powers? Yes? Tell me straight, were you really in your dressing room? You didn't go to the studio? I didn't go to the studio. I was sleeping, honest. So, who was the Steel Samurai in that security photo? How would I know? The Steel Samurai costume was off the corner of the dressing room. Anyone could have walked in and taken it, really. What? You should take better care of that stuff. I couldn't imagine anyone would want to steal a Steel Samurai costume. So, where does this leave me? It doesn't look good. You're the only likely suspect right now. Nick! What are we going to do? First, we play for more time. We'll start targeting someone else that could conceivably have done this. Right. It'll take them so long to shoot us down that we can get another day. Right, but if we pick the wrong person, we might lose on the spot. You don't sound very optimistic. I'm not optimistic at all, actually. Hey Nick, it's time. Okay, let's go. What does that mean? Please don't sign like that. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. Mr. Edward will present the prosecution's thought on this matter. The prosecution's thoughts are simple. Nothing has changed. The other person who went to the studio was a boy of roughly 10 years of age. The photo we do have may not be hard evidence, but there is still no one else that could have committed this crime. I call for a verdict of guilty for the defendant of Mr. Will Powers. Very well, Mr. Wright, your thoughts? The defense disagree with the prosecution's claims. There is another person who could have committed this crime. Orders. Interesting. Let's hear who you have in mind, however. Be aware that this court does not look kindly on accusing the innocent. If you accuse someone who is obviously innocent, you will be penalized. Alright, great. As if the stakes weren't high enough. So, who was this person other than Mr. Samurai that could have committed murder? It was the assistant. The steel samurai costume was in the dressing room. She stole it, and in doing so, she became the steel samurai. So you're saying that the steel samurai is in the picture is really the assistant? That's correct, Your Honor. If you're serious, you've got guts, Mr. Wright. Remember the photo? Wasn't the steel samurai a little lame? He was dragging his foot. Oh, uh-oh. Bad feeling time. Remember the testimony concerning Power's injury? Oh, right. The assistant knew nothing about Mr. Power's injury. Ah, crap. No! Alright. Was the security lady? It was a security lady, Wendy Oldbag. Who? The steel samurai is dragging his leg in this picture. That means whoever was in the suit knew about that morning's injury. Maybe because they had been watching the action scene run through. There was only one person other than Powers and Hammer who knew about the injury. The security lady Oldbag. What? Whippersnapper! Order! Order! Is it true, Oldbag? Oldbag? That's Miss Oldbag to you! Miss Oldbag was standing guard alone at the main gate. She was by herself. In other words, she has no alibi. She could have briefly left her post to steal the steel samurai costume, then slip into Studio 1, the scene of the murder. Why would she go through the trouble of wearing the steel samurai costume? Simple, Your Honor. She knew the camera at the gate would take her picture. If she was in his costume, she could point finger at Mr. Powers. I see. Excellent deductive reasoning, Mr. Wright. Oh yeah, right there. Sherlock Holmes 2, baby. That's odd. Isn't this the part where Edgar counts? Doesn't he usually jump up with an objection and some new damning evidence? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution have an opinion on this matter? The prosecution has no meaningful objection at this time. What? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, so you all think I did it? Is that it? Edge boy, don't just sit there, do something. It's my move. Maybe now's my chance to take this the whole way. Let's press further. The very same reasoning that makes Mr. Powers a suspect in this case can be used to cast doubt on Miss Oldbag's action on that day. But why would I do something so horrible to poor Hammer? You forget that Mr. Powers lacks a clear motive, too. Indeed. That did it. Now Windbag is one of the suspects. No hard feelings, I hope. Wait just a minute. What about the other person who went to the studio? The boy. The one whose photo I erased. He's only a grade schooler though, as you said. Second or third grade, was it? That doesn't matter. When I was at that age, I could pin my old man in 10 seconds tops. Your thoughts, Mr. Wright? That boy is not the killer. What? How can you be so sure? Oh, or is it to be nice to kids and mean to your elders, day, whippersnapper? I have proof. Proof? Indeed. Then, let's see this proof, Mr. Wright. You have proof that shows the boy could not have committed the murder. The scene of the murder, as we all know, was Studio 1. However, you need a card key to enter Studio 1. How could a boy with no formal relation to the studios have a card key? I see. Well, would a witness care to comment on this? Speechless. Yes, to be a first. Very well. This court will suspend proceeding on the current trial for today. Mr. Edgeworth, please find out more about your witness, Miss Wendy. What was her name? Something old bag, Your Honor. Then the prosecution will look further into this old bag before we continue. That is all. This court is adjourned. Wait a second! I'm not going to just sit here while you run off barking up the wrong tree. Me? I'm talking. Oh, great. Stop the presses. The windbag wants to talk. Miss Oldbag, what's this all about? Have you omitted something from your testimony? Actually, if you must know, there's something I was told not to talk about. Not to talk about? By whom? Huh? You mean it wasn't Edward who told you not? What? Testify. My lips were sealed. Global Studios wanted me to keep quiet about something. There were some other people at the studio on the day of the murder. They said they had nothing to do with it, see? So they told me to just pretend they hadn't been at the studio that day. But if you're going to go accusing me, I'm not letting them get away scot-free. Miss Oldbag, this is crucial information. Why did you keep this for the court until now? Ain't you been listening? They told me to shut my trap and always do what I'm told. No, this isn't a bad dream, Your Honor. Witness the power of the old bag. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. Oh, jeez. Alright, who were they? Who were these people? Well, the director and the producer for starters. The director? We should have known something was fishy. How could they have done a run-through of their action scene without a director? Of course. Yes, well, I was surprised no one asked about it. So where were these people? The director was in the employee area all morning for the run-through. He joined the producer around lunchtime and they had a meeting after that. Where? Oh, in the Studio 2 trailer. Studio 2? There was a Studio 2? Well, if you look at the guide map, here it is. You go through the gate and all the way to the left. The path where the monkey's head was falling over. Well, Mr. Wright, would you like to continue the cross-examination? No. We have learned where there were others at the Global Studios on the day in question. The director and the producer and some bigwigs were all present. Yet, as we stand here, they have not been questioned. I hold that it's impossible to declare a verdict on the defendant, Mr. Powers. The court acknowledges the defense point. The prosecution will gather more information about the witness, Miss Oldbag, and more information about these other people we have just been told of. I understand, Your Honor. And this ends the day's proceeding in the trial of Mr. Will's Powers. That is all. This court is adjourned. Thank you so much, Mr. Wright. I was right to ask you to defend me. Oh, really? It's nothing. Oh, should I? We'll be going down to the studio to do some more investigating. We have to find out more about this director and producer. They'll be turning up in the next trial as witnesses, for certain. So now is my chance to get material for the cross-examination. So Nick, have we figured out just who it was in that steel samurai costume? Could it really have been old Windbag? What do you think, Mr. Powers? I don't think it was her, really. Neither do I, Nick. Yeah, I know. Look, I was just buying time back there. Someone had to be the bad guy for a bit to take the pressure off Mr. Powers. Poor old windbag. I feel kind of sorry for her. Well, she wasn't winning any points in there, with or without my accusation. Okay, let's get down to the studios. Right! We'll be back to visit you soon. Thanks. Thanks, guys. To be continued.